Platform 9 3/4 at the King's Cross station in London is of course that famous platform where students from the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry gather every year on the 1st of September around 11 a.m. to board Intercity Train 125, more well known of course as the Hogwarts Express, to go to school. Now, some say that that only exists in the world of Harry Potter, and some say that the world of Harry Potter is not real. But as it happens, there might be something similar going on right here in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Intrigued? Well then, in the words of Stan Shunpike, come along then, let's not wait for the grass to grow. And now we are walking here along Valgraven, or the moat. On the right, over there across the moat, we have the Garden Society Trädgårdsföreningen, which is beautiful and well worth a visit for a future episode. But of course today we are on more important business, as we are looking for an address which may or may not exist. We have it, and right next to it the Gothenburg Synagogue, and then there Stora Nygatan 17.5. Now it's built in a typical style for its time. That's the 1850s, by the way, or more specifically 1856. It was designed by the architect August Krüger, who also incidentally designed the synagogue. Now, when it was built, it would have been 2 stories and not the 3 stories that we see today. And in the ground floor, there would have been offices, and then on the first floor, there was the apartment of August Abrahamsson and his wife, opera singer Euphrosyne Lehmann, who moved here from the nearby Kungsgatan, where they had their previous apartment. But why 17.5? It makes no sense. Well, if we go back in time to when they were building here, there was a frenzy of activity as they were trying to build things very, very fast. And they actually started building from both ends of the street simultaneously. I suppose the idea being that they'd meet up somewhere in the middle. Now, of course, the city planners had a meticulous plan in place for the buildings and the numbers and everything. But as often is the case with meticulous plans, is they don't always quite align with reality, and so it was this time. So when the builders finished this building and were putting up the street number, they realized their mistake. They had no numbers left. And so what to do? Well, they were most likely engineers, because the solution they came up with was very mathematically friendly: fractions. So it became 17.5. If this had happened today, we would probably have found a solution involving letters, Stora Nygatan 17A and 17B, but our research suggests that this was still not commonplace back in the 1850s. So it had to be Stora Nygatan 17.5. Now, is this story true?
That's a tough question, Nils. On the one hand, we do have the street sign that says that this building is Stora Nygatan 17.5. Also, the regional healthcare agency does refer to a building under this number, which houses its psychiatric wards. On the other hand, Google Maps does not know of such place. Neither does OpenStreetMap or all the other major map service providers. So what is the truth? To find out, we have inquired with the Lantmäteriet. Lantmäteriet is the government agency in Sweden that provides data for the maps. It is also responsible for the real estate division. The answer is no. There is no such address in Sweden. But then, what shall we believe? Is the whole story a hoax? Is it a glitch in the matrix? Or is this building part of some almost but not quite parallel reality, like Platform 9 3/4? we had to dig really deep in city archives looking for some very old maps to find out the truth. The oldest map that we found, which contains street numbers, is from 1869, so just 13 years after this building was erected. And what did we see? Here it is, Stora Nygatan 17.5.
So, in conclusion then, we now know that the building was definitely Stora Nygatan 17.5, even in official sources. What we don't know is when that changed. Now, the story about how it became 17.5, is that true? Well, that we cannot tell for certain, unfortunately. But certainly for us and for the people putting up the sign, this is and will always be Stora Nygatan 17.5.